Well, hello everyone, and welcome to CoachX Live with the Institute of Coaching. My name is Jeffrey Hull. I'm the Executive Director of the Institute of Coaching, and I hope everyone is having a wonderful summer. I am fortunate enough to be actually in New England right now, so it's actually 12 noon for me, which is a rare and wonderful experience. A beautiful summer day here in Boston area. And I want to welcome everyone from around the world. So as soon as the chat starts acting up, please put in a hello from wherever you are. We love to see our folks coming in from all over the world. So today I have a very special guest, a dear friend from India who's joining us all the way from Delhi. Dr. Badri Bajaj is a friend of the Institute of Coaching. He's a friend of mine. I met him when I was at an ICF event in India. We had a wonderful connection, and he has an incredible new book out that we're going to talk about today called Happiness from A to Z, Evidence-Based Strategies for Achieving Well-Being and Fulfillment. So before I get started with questions, just let me give you a little background. His background is very special. He is one of the leading thought leaders and practitioners of coaching and well-being and leadership in India, an associate professor at JP Institute of Information Technology in Noida, India, and he's published extensively on well-being, coaching, mindfulness, leadership, and emotional intelligence. In 2017, he was honored with the 100 Best Global Coaching Leaders Award by CHRO Asia and the World HRD Congress. He has trained and coached leaders across IT, retail, the Indian Navy, and professional associations. He delivers talks all over the world, was the former president of ICF Delhi chapter, and has spearheaded impactful initiatives and secured prestigious awards for ICF in India. So we are honored to have you here, Badri, and I want to welcome you. You're actually coming back because you were with me on another new book that you co-edited with Jonathan Passmore, but this time your book is the focus of our conversation, and it's really a very special compendium of evidence-based strategies around happiness, and I personally thoroughly enjoyed it. I can see where it would be incredibly relevant to work with coaches and their clients who are struggling with burnout or any of the other issues in our incredibly disrupted world today. So let's get started by having a little background. Maybe you could tell me what prompted you to want to write a book about happiness.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jeffrey, for inviting me to this amazing conversation. And you have become a legend in this LinkedIn Live of IOC, Institute of Coaching. And people have kind of dreams to come and join you in these conversations. And yeah, in terms of the idea behind the book, actually, maybe since last more than 2 decades, I was thinking about happiness and all that. In my own personal experience, long back, maybe more than 25 years ago, I used to have mental health issues long back. And I went to psychiatrist and took some medicine for a couple of months, and then I recovered well. So maybe somewhere in my mind it was there that how I can be normally happier in my life. So in that quest, I started reading about His Holiness Dalai Lama's work.
Wow,
And yeah, and he came to our city long back. I attended one of his live in-person event also.
that
So
must have been
from
very
that,
special.
yeah, long back when I was reading that book of His Holiness Dalai Lama, then one of my colleague commented that these days people have to read books to remain happier in their lives. And so this is long back, more than 20 years ago. So yeah, I was not thinking about writing the book at that point of time, but I was thinking about enhancing my own happiness and live a happier life. So that was the kind of starting of this journey. And in last couple of years, I published some papers in some of the best journals like Journal of Happiness Studies and Frontiers in Psychology. personality and individual differences, and then I wrote some blogs for ICF also. And so I found that because I was teaching positive psychology, I'm teaching science of happiness. So I thought that I'm talking about happiness every day almost, and then coaching the people on well-being and happiness. So why not to compile all these ideas? And then I saw there was another book, Coaching A to G by Hesul Moon,
Right,
our common
right.
friend from Canada.
Common friend. Yes, she's a great friend and a great part of the Institute of Coaching.
Yeah, yeah. So I thought that I should have something around happiness A to Z. So the initial thought was there maybe after seeing that book, and then I started developing this A to Z kind of framework. And the chapters names which are there in the book were not there initially. Like there
Okay.
is collaboration on C, it was working together earlier. So like in the last 20 years I was thinking, talking about well-being, and and I found that that enhancing happiness is not so difficult. And if we know some evidence-based strategies, and we have the intention, enhancing happiness is very easy, and it's not difficult. For example, though there are many ideas in the book, like I have found that if we spend some time in nature, maybe 20 minutes or so, or it will change our state of mind immediately. Like what we can get from nature,
That's true.
it is underrated actually. And another is 20 minutes away from screen. Oh, that has amazing impact on state of mind. So I was talking, I was thinking, I was teaching. So I thought that maybe I should compile something which will give a kind of mnemonic approach so that people can recall, okay, and nature, m meaning something like this. And then the book was there. So here is the book, let me show you. Happiness A to
Great.
Z. And so that is the journey behind this book and the idea behind this book. And the book is doing well.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great. I have enjoyed reading it. I'm curious how you started out with A all the way from A to Z. Like what was the process of going A, B, C, D, E? How did you
Yeah.
go through that?
Yeah. Actually, I thought of writing a few words which are there in the happiness literature, which belong to A. We start with A. I wrote couple of words. Then I wrote couple of words for B. Then for C. Then for so A to Z. I wrote for each letter. I wrote couple of words. Then I consulted some colleagues, my students, and in that brainstorming session, so finally I reached to some sort of the final words like appreciation for A. There were other words also, maybe asking, maybe agreement, and so in that approach I realized that through my own thinking, my own experience, my own research, and talking with some colleagues and students, I reached to this stage. But when I was discussing with the editor of the book, in that also we changed some of the ideas that they mentioned, that this collaboration was working together. So we thought that rather than having two three words for each letter, it should be one word only. So we shifted some words and introduced some new words. And so it took some time maybe in generating this list of A to Z for happiness. And then I was also worried that there must be something, some evidence for each letter.
Right. I was going to
And
ask you about that. You have it, it's called evidence-based strategies. So there needs to be science that backs up each one of the 26 letters, right?
yeah. So fortunately, like I kept searching about the various topics from A to Z. There are some topics on which there is very less research. For example, I searched and there was very less research, but somehow I found some research that this paralinguistic kind of expression is increasing in the society in this era. When I was a student long back, this paralinguistic was not given much importance. So even in marketing and leadership, everywhere paralinguistic is giving is entering into all type of communication. So I thought, yeah, A would be more appropriate for Y. And though there was no research, I think, but somehow I found some research papers which were written, and then some papers which are written on paralinguistic. Then one of my colleague, Dr. Ekta Singh, she has given a story for Ye. She used to say Ye on various occasions. So I thought this is the right person who can give me a story for Ye. And so like I spend a lot of time in finding research. I also spend a lot of time in finding people who can give the right stories for the right letters. Yeah, so in this way, and so like there is immense research in topics like gratitude. There is
Right.
immense research like kindness, helping others, and like there is. So I think on Ye there was less research, and something on, I think, Excel also. I used amiable work on that. I think the progress principle, that little bit progress every day makes people happier in their lives, in
Right.
corporate life. So I think Excel and Ye, there was very less research. In all others, I kept looking for a lot of research. Like for example, let me share one fantastic research on nature. So there is a research which I have cited in the book from UK. The researchers recruited 20,000 participants in their study, and while they promoted the study through TV, newspaper, magazines. And what was in the study actually, like they invited all these participants to install one app in their iPhones. And the app they developed and gave it to iStore. And in that app, I think during the day, 2 3 times they will rate how were they feeling, their happiness or their well-being. There were kind of rating scale. And
Right.
at the same time, through that app they could, and means the researchers could see the location of the person, whether the person is in the green area near water bodies or in a structured building. So 20,000 participants, more than 1 million data points. And on
Okay.
the basis of, yeah, 1 million is too much. And we published qualitative papers on by interviewing 10 guys, and this was 1 million data. So they found that when people are in nature, they feel happier.
Yeah, there's also studies at the University of Utah by a Professor Strayer who took students into the mountains, and they did creativity studies with the same group of students in a classroom setting, and then they
Hmm.
took the same group of students out into nature, and they had them do the same creativity analysis or creativity questions. And they found that when the students were out in nature, their ability to be creative and curious was like 25% higher than it was when it was in the classroom. So, very similar to your study, that being out in nature shifts the brain and creates well-being, creates an environment for curiosity, more creativity. So there's a lot of good studies around that. I think you're absolutely right. I'm finally, just to share with you, I'm finally seeing some hellos come in. The chat was not working. So hello to Fabiana from California. There's not very many chats coming in. Maybe Austin, our tech whiz, can go back and see what's going on with the StreamYard chat box. But in the meantime, I'm curious for you to share a little bit about what you consider to be, you've got the whole letters of all the alphabet, right? So when you think about the ones that coaches have the most success working with their clients, are there particular letters of the alphabet or particular themes that jump out at you? Because as a coach, you're also working with people, looking at how you can help them use some of these principles, some of this research to be, as you said, to be happier, to have a more positive outlook. So which of the 26 would you consider to be most important?
Yeah, actually, I don't think there is something which we can say the most important, because it depends on the context.
Right.
Like for example, even when I am not feeling happy, I try to check that which letter I should follow now. And maybe at some point of time I was feeling a little low a few weeks ago. So I thought, okay, let me take advice from my book. So I opened the book.
Good for you.
Yeah, yeah, I opened the book and I found that maybe I need to do journaling and express on a paper what's going on in my mind.
So that
And
was letter.
just
Is that's letter J?
yeah, yeah, that's letter J. So I did journaling for a few days, like just 2 3 days only and I was out of that kind of state of mind, and it really helped me. So what coaches have to do, like which letter or they can suggest, actually depends on the client's context at that point of time. And but like something to answer your question, though it is highly related to the context, but there are certain things like as I shared that which are underrated and which are maybe families or people or leaders or clients don't realize. As number one, I will say again, nature. Oh, nature is an amazing thing, and what it can do, people can understand only by going out and being in the nature. They can feel the difference. Secondly, journaling is something amazing. Like it can change state of mind immediately. Like you spend 10 minutes, your what state of mind you were having before 10 minutes, and now it will be totally
Right.
different.
Right.
And the other thing is the bonding. Yeah, actually, there are amazing research findings from Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman, Martin Seligman, and the Harvard. This longitudinal study, they say that bonding matters the most.
What
So just spend
say that again? What matters the most?
bonding, B for bonding.
Oh, bonding. Okay.
Bonding, yeah.
Say more
So
about that.
yeah, matters the most according to Martin Seligman, Daniel Kahneman. Daniel Kahneman has a beautiful chapter on well-being in Thinking Fast and Slow. So in that book, in that chapter, he had mentioned that the greatest use of time is to spend time with the people who love you and you love, and that is the biggest source of happiness. So I think. Just being with the people for some time can have amazing impact, whether it is online or offline. In person, yeah, in person it will have more impact. And spending time with people, like I have shared one example from my own life in collaboration, similar to bonding, that when I was a child and in our village, we used to peel peas almost every day because the peas were available in winters only in India at that point of time. Now it's available throughout the year. So what people used to do in villages, they will peel the peas and store it for next couple of months.
Right.
So we used to peel peas for many hours in the evening. It's cold outside, so nobody was feeling tired, nobody was feeling bored, and it was. So what I'm trying to say, when we are with people, we don't feel tired and we feel energetic. So I think if I have to choose best five, I will say one is nature, the other one is helping other people, kindness. Yeah, if bonding is number one, I think kindness or helping others is number two. And in that nature, expressing gratitude is an amazing thing, and appreciation. And maybe the last one I will say knowing. Let me share one beautiful story which I heard in my village when I was a child.
So
There
what?
were two.
Just before you do, what was the word you just said? Knowing.
Knowing, yeah, K for knowing.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. So knowing is a beautiful thing, as you have seen. You might have referred the book "Think Again" by um, Adam Grant, and "Thinking Fast and Slow" by Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman. So I have shared one story in that, which is still prevalent in India. That two friends were near in the evening. They were near the river, and one friend saw something black in the river, and this friend thought that that is a blanket, and he jumped into a to river to fetch that blanket. But that blanket was a crocodile, because in the evening they could not assess it, and the crocodile like. Catch this person. Now the friend outside the river is asking, come back, leave the blanket. So the other guy in the river was saying, I want to leave the blanket, but the blanket is not leaving me. So we feel miserable in life sometimes, so not happier, because we have one set of thinking pattern. If we start try to think again, or try to know the other perspective, we can feel happier. So what I'm trying to say in this book, while writing this book, I have realized that to enhance happiness, no money is required, no resources are required, and with very less investment of time, we can feel happier.
Well said. Absolutely well said. So we have a question coming in from Edward Newby, who's asking if you have any suggestions when many of us are doing coaching virtually and we're on Zoom. How do you create a sense of nature?
While we are having some kind of conversations, we can keep plants on our table, something like this. I'm having few plants. Yeah, having the screen and virtual greenery or sea, I think that will not help. Having the real plant on the table may help, I think.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it also helps to define what you mean by nature. I mean, I think when I used to live in New York City and I was writing my first book many years ago, and I had a creativity coach, and she was telling me that I needed to get in touch with creativity by being in nature. And I remember thinking, I am in the middle of Manhattan. How can I possibly be in nature? And she said, have you ever been to Central Park? And I said, yeah, but it's just a park in the middle of nature. You know, it's not going to nature. I had a mindset that going to nature was mountains and had to be the beach or something spectacular. And she said to me, tomorrow, I want you to go over to Central Park and I want you to put your hand in the dirt and pick up a leaf and look closely at that leaf and see how you feel about being in the park. And it was so powerful because I walked literally 3 blocks into Central Park, and I think people thought I was silly. I was touching the dirt and touching the tree. She told me to touch the rocks. But the point that she was making was that nature is right there. It's present to
Yeah.
me as soon as I became present to it. And it did shift my energy. And from then on, when I was doing my writing, I would always go back to Central Park and just not just stay on the path, but go into the woods and
Yeah.
actually have an experience. And it was amazing how you could feel like you were really in nature, even though you were in the middle of a huge city.
Yeah, actually, long back I wrote an article for ICF, hacks for enhancing well-being, like how coaches can enhance their well-being and how they can enhance their clients. So, yeah, some of those hacks became the chapters of this book also. So maybe when I have to coach a client virtually, so just before the session, I can just go in my balcony and see the plants, order the plants, and maybe I can suggest to my client also that before meeting, both of us will go into our balcony, see the trees outside the house. So yes, spending, as I mentioned, spending a few minutes in nature or just seeing the nature, seeing the sky in the evening, if you can see the stars out there, oh, that can shift the mind immediately.
I agree. I totally agree. I was just in Santa Fe, New Mexico on my vacation. And the most powerful experience that I had was actually at night in the dark. And I was with a group and we all could see the stars in a way that was just extraordinary because the sky is so dark in the desert. And just being in that energy of seeing the moon and seeing the stars and being with a group of people, I mean, you could not help but be happy. It was just
Yeah.
extraordinary. So I completely agree. So tell me about the letter Q. I'm forgetting. I've read most of your book, but I'm forgetting what you use for the letter Q.
Yeah, Q is, I think, Q means quiet. You can
Quiet.
spend
Beautiful.
some time with yourself, and that gives a lot of energy, peace of mind. So in this era when people are rushing 24/7 and notifications are there, and while we are driving we are listening to podcast and we are thinking constantly we should not miss that podcast, another podcast, oh, lot of pressure. So in this pressure work and rushing, it's better that we spend some time with ourselves, do nothing. Even we can have some plugs in the ear so that we don't hear any noise, or we can set some rituals, maybe a kind of a candle or a small lamp or some soothing music. Like, it depends on the individual's preferences, but spending some me time is the real resource for regeneration in this era when people are having a lot of pressure to perform, accomplish, and chasing so many things in their lives.
I totally agree. So I'm curious, when you look back at the experience of writing the book and doing the 26 letters, what was the most challenging for you in finding an, the research aspect or the choice of words? Which one was most challenging?
No, the choice of words was most challenging. Basically, as I mentioned, that I wrote a few words for each letter, and then deciding which one to include, and it must have relevance for subjective well-being, psychological well-being. Some should have relevance for social well-being. So I wanted to have a balance because I teach positive psychology. So these things were there in my mind most of the time. So I wanted to choose letters which represent some type of well-being. And Lindsay Oates from University of Melbourne, he gave wonderful endorsement for the book, and he mentioned on email that whatever we are studying in the research, that what are different factors of well-being. So you have accumulated almost all the factors in this A to Z. So
Wow.
so yeah, that
That's
was
why it's
the
called that's why it's called A to Z, right?
yeah.
It includes everything. What do you find is the one or two that coaches use most often with their clients?
Yeah, coaches, yeah, like again, I will say depend on the context, but I have found that if people take care of their social well-being, so
Social
many things,
well-being.
social well-being, and so many things can fall in place. So if coaches can help their clients to think about social well-being, and before that, let me add that all coaching conversations need some sort of conversation on well-being ultimately, because whatever I'm trying to chase achieve as a client, ultimately it is related to my well-being. So some conversation on well-being and happiness are must, but if the client and coach are somewhere talking about social well-being, like how I can contribute, whether I contribute to my family, my community, my society, country, this planet, this universe, so the conversation will be of different type actually.
Right.
Otherwise, if I just focus on my achieving my goals, I think the conversation will be transactional in nature. So if I need to have deep impact of coaching with my client, so somewhere social well-being, conversation around social well-being should be there, not directly, indirectly, that how the whatever is client going to achieve is going to help impact others life, and not only family, beyond family also.
I agree.
So
I'll give
yeah,
you
so
a let me end here by giving you a tough question to answer at the very end. I have a client who believes in social well-being with his family and his friends, but he does not believe in social well-being with his job. He sees his job as just a way to make money and to be successful, and his social well-being should be handled by his family and his friends. How do you coach someone who does not really care about their work environment other than making money,
yeah, actually all coaching will ultimately lead to conversation or finding around values of the person.
right?
So yeah, if he has prioritized the things in such a way that he wants to survive in the job but thrive in family and friends, I'm okay with that because the client has already decided and chosen the and decided on his values or her values. So as a coach, I have no issues. I will go ahead and coach them on their choices, their dreams actually. Yeah, yeah, it should not be socially injustice or harmful for the organization. Like, I
Right.
should at least do what is good for my survival. Like, it should not be otherwise that I'm not doing anything, I'm just having fun and talking to my family the whole day while at work. I think I will not prefer coaching that person maybe. But if the client is happy with thriving with family and friends and surviving at job, I'm absolutely fine with that.
Okay, that's great. That's a reasonable answer. I think what
Yeah.
I'm trying to do as his coach is to have him consider thinking about his life as more of a holistic experience. So he doesn't slice things up into categories: family, friends, work. In many ways, it's all one life, right? So why not be socially happy at work, just like you're socially happy with your friends? So we'll see. I was just curious how you would work through something like that. But we
Yeah,
have you.
in the book there is one story, a real story, where the client came for career coaching, and he end up getting coaching on realizing or finding his real values, and then he found that his career aspiration which he used to have 15 years ago are not relevant now, so let me focus on what is more relevant now.
And that's certainly true that our clients are always changing, just as our goals are always changing. And that the purpose for coaching is to try to open people up to explore and be
Yeah.
curious and to see how things are evolving. So, listen, I am super happy to have you here with us today. And I want to wish you all the best with this wonderful book, Happiness A to Z. I think that having a compendium that's accessible, research oriented, gives coaches and clients something that they can reach to and work with without feeling like it's arduous, stressful work. It's actually really supportive. And so thank you so much for taking the time to put this together, for joining me. And I just want to wish you the best as you take it out into the world.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Yeah, meeting you on LinkedIn Live is also enhancing well-being. So let's see how many times we can meet in future. And thank you so much for giving this space, your time, and this platform. I thoroughly enjoyed.
My pleasure. We'll look forward to seeing you again when you do the happiness 2 from A to Z.
Yeah, yeah, wonderful, wonderful.
Goodbye for now, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the summer, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye,